days may be long upon the land which the Lord thy God giveth thee. We've all been told that, heard that over the years. Honor thy father and thy mother. In chapter 21, in verse number 15, the Word of God says this, and he that smiteth his father or his mother shall be surely put to death. That word smiteth means to strike or to hit. And then in verse 17 of Exodus 21 again, we see he that curseth his father or his mother shall surely be put to death. Now, I think we can say without a doubt that God puts a very high priority on parenthood. Could we agree with that this morning? And we look over in John chapter 19 now, in verse number 25, to draw the picture here of what's going on. Christ is on Golgotha's hill. He is at Calvary. He is being crucified. He's coming down into the last breaths on this earth at this time before his resurrection. And we see in verse 25, it said, now there stood by the cross of Jesus his mother and his mother's sister Mary, the wife of Cleophas, and Mary Magdalene. When Jesus therefore saw his mother and his disciples standing by whom he loved, he saith unto his mother, Woman, behold thy son. Then saith he to the disciple, Behold thy mother. And from that hour the disciple took her unto his own home. Now, isn't it interesting that Christ thought it important the care of his mother, even down to his last breaths of earth on earth before his resurrection, that one of the last things he would say was the care of his mother. He entrusted his mother to John, the disciple, John the Baptist. Now, not John the disciple, yes. Things, I want to teach on this thought this morning, if I can slow down long enough to get my mouth working right. I went down earlier and I asked my wife, I said, do I sound all right this morning? She said, yeah, why? I said, sounds like my teeth's about 4 times bigger than what they ought to be. You ever feel that way? Like, well, if y'all ain't got false teeth, you don't know what I'm talking about. You know, folks, y'all know what I'm talking about, right? And sometimes it just don't feel right. Today's one of them days. And I know when things like this happen, that means God really wants to do something special and the devil's just trying to aggravate everything. I want to preach this simple thought this morning. Things that you had better tell mama while you can. So that ain't no exciting Mother's Day message. Well, I didn't say much about it being exciting. I said I was going to preach what God told me to preach. You know, I was blessed with my daddy and my mother both as they passed into the blessed presence of Christ. I spent their last days with them. And I watched all the different emotions that one goes through. I saw some trying to make up for years of hurt and years of lying and cheating and stealing and hurt words and hurt feelings. I saw family that left out of the hospital room saying, I have no regrets. And I saw the brokenness of unsaid things and unanswered questions. And over these many years, I went to the graveyard with many families for many different circumstances, but all had the same result, death. And can I tell you something? When death comes, there's nothing else that can be said. There's nothing else that can be done. And for all of the tears and all of the I wish I hads, there's no answer coming back from the grave. Right. My mama used to always say this, and as I got older, I realized the importance of that. She said, give me my flowers while I can smell them. And she said, if you ain't going to come visit me now, don't waste your time coming to my funeral. Right. You say, your mama pretty plain frozen person. Yeah, I got a whole lot of my traits from her. My daddy was quiet. Mama just said what's on her mind. Amen. But can I tell you, you can adorn a grave with all the beautiful flowers, spend your last dimes on a tombstone, and maybe install a fountain or something else. But can I tell you this? you can fall across the grave crying and weeping and telling all that you wish you had a said and all you wish you had a done, but it's only going to fall on silence. Because there's no response. There's no answer coming back. I must say that whatever you have to say, you'd better get it said. Or whatever you must do, you better get busy doing it. Amen. Because time flies away before you realize it. You may not get to, a person that's Diane's mother. I've shared this, I believe, already since I've been here, but she had Alzheimer's for 11 years, so they had plenty of time to, they lost all the good memories because her mama got to where she didn't know anybody. But they got to do for her in honor and respect to her mother in those latter years when she couldn't do for herself and all that. But don't everybody have those years. Don't everybody have weeks or months or have time when you know that something bad's going on. You don't always have that. Sometimes it's a person's taken away suddenly. And then you say, boy, I wish I had it. Woulda, coulda, shoulda. I thought about some things that Mama needs to hear and wants to hear. And let me first of all say that Mama's probably the most misunderstood person in the home. Amen. She many times finds herself placed in positions that she did not ask for and she does not deserve. Many times Mama finds herself the primary breadwinner, and that's not God's plan. Right. She's placed in a place of primary authority, and that's not God's plan. Right. She's placed in a position to be in the primary disciplinarian, and that's not God's plan. Preacher, I'm glad you're enjoying this morning. That's like a preacher was preaching that time on the home and preaching how husbands ought to love their wives and wives ought to love their husbands. And it got real quiet like that, and there's a little boy jumped up on the front pew and said, keep preaching, preacher, you helping us. It helped somebody, amen. Hey, this is reality though, isn't it? She's placed in a position of having to do so many things. Things don't always end up according to God's plan, do they? I've had people tell me after funerals that I preached that you didn't know her the way we did. She was a hard mama. Well, she had to be hard many times. Amen. Wake up when daddy's not at home and wake up and have to answer 1,000 questions about why this and why that and why there's not this and why we can't do that and why we can't do the other thing. And sometimes Mama has to be hard to protect you from a drunken, abusive daddy, or she has to be hard to survive, and she takes the heat. Right. So don't tell me Mama's hard. I was preaching a funeral in North Carolina one time, and the woman that I was preaching the funeral for, her daughter got up and walked out in the middle of the funeral. I thought, ain't you proud of yourself? But I didn't say it out loud. But that woman, I saw what that woman went through, and I was close friends with that family, and she considered herself to be, she called herself my grandma. She wasn't my grandma, but she called herself my grandma. And she loved us, and I saw why she had that hardness about her. Because she had to do so much without any help at all.